cards in here, and the Hateful Eight is in Lowry's deck coming up here in a little bit. Welcome, Commander Smiths.
We are the Commander Smiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowry Smith.
Don't worry.
We're cousins.
We're cousins. Cousins.
Cousins.
It's episode 175, and it feels like we just recorded a few days ago.
Because we did.
We did.
We did.
Yeah.
We're recording early, and that's
yeah.
why the poll ended early, and hopefully this might be coming out. This is coming out on Wednesday.
Maybe Tuesday?
Maybe
Wednesday?
Tuesday?
It might be getting an early jump because of one of our topics we're going to be talking about. Because we're going to talk about Secret Lair.
That's a pretty badass Secret Lair.
Yeah, and it's only going from the 21st to the 23rd. So we're going to try to get it out and give you a little bit of time to listen and be like, all right, do I want to buy it, or what do I want to buy if you're going to buy any of it? So that is one of the topics. We also, what else do we have for today?
We have, we're going to talk about the third and fourth round of Salty 64. And we're going to be breaking down the
Hateful Eight.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do we call it? the Hateful Eight round. The round of the Hateful Eight. Yes, they are much more funny than we are.
Matt the Monorock, Stephen Dale, and Bill from Woodbury helped us out with the Hateful Eight. We got a bunch of suggestions, and that's the kind of one we went with, the Hateful Eight. So
because it was the first one said.
Yeah, it was the second one said, I think. I think so. I think the other one was like the Hated Eight or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that too.
It still works. And then we got your little guy that you're working on, or you worked on.
This little guy? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I made a Oscar the Reconstructor deck, red, white, reanimating artifacts. And I really like it. I don't know if it's good or not. It feels like there's a lot of dinking and dunking.
It seems like a fun deck. Like, I was looking at it, looking over it, and I have a few questions, concerns.
Of course.
And some ads, maybe, especially since you have white in there, and we've gotten a lot of nice white cards lately. So I have some thoughts on those, maybe.
We'll see.
So, yeah, that'll be fun to get on that. But I think first we're going to hit the Hateful Eight. But we'll get to that in a second. We got a lot to talk about, so we're probably not going to BS too much in the beginning here. I don't really have anything unless you have something.
Okay. Well, okay, so next weekend, I believe, I was a guest on CMD Tower last night and recorded on my Essex deck. So I believe that is going to be coming out next Saturday or the following week. Had a lot of good fun. It was just me and Combo talking about Essex. And so check that out too.
Sweet. Yeah. So next week. So it'll be that week technically, because we're recording early, so it's going to be the same week.
Yeah. I mean,
right after this comes out pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just go see if it's out. I don't even
see if Larry's on there.
There wasn't like a definite date. It was just kind of like we're hoping for this. So it
maybe
not even be out yet. Just
maybe it gets cut because they just don't like it.
I mean we got into some talking, so they might cut out a lot of bullshit. So I don't know what they want to do.
So I'm going to my cabin this week. So that's why we're recording early. So there's no new news there. Trying to think if I have any gout stuff. No. We already talked about the quads. That was the last podcast.
I hope you have a good I hope you and everybody have a good Father's Day.
Yes.
If you're a father, and if not, go say hi if you want.
To your dad.
Yeah.
Good
or your mom.
Now.
I mean, who cares? Who cares about holidays? I don't know. I set up having my mom take the kids this weekend so I could work on the house. And my wife was just like, so you want the kids gone for Father's Day? I was like, no, I just want to work. I just want to work on the damn house. That's what I want to do. So
Well, you want oh shit. Why didn't I should like be ahead of this. You want the kids gone for Father's Day because,
I don't want a relationship. I just want bang, bang, bang.
Bang, bang, bang.
I don't want to know your name. I just want bang, bang, bang.
Dude, that was so funny on Discord, AJ today.
I know. Yeah.
He went down the channels and just spelled it out. He's like, I don't want relationship. I just want bang, bang,
Yeah.
bang. And people are like, what?
seeing it in one channel
word.
and going, bang, what?
Because one of them was bang, and the comments before were talking about a cat. It's like, what is he talking about? I knew exactly what he was doing right away because it went down my list. I'm like, why? Because I like to keep my
Everything's lit up.
yeah. I like to keep my it's my OCD a little bit.
Yep.
If there's something that's white, that I haven't read, I'm like, okay, let's click on that. And I'm like,
Let's check it out.
he went down the line of channels that we barely use on some of those, and I'm like, oh, I see what you did there. So yeah, that's a good Father's Day. You get alone time with the
Joey,
missus.
do you know what's even really good? We got a new patron
Woo! Hey.
button.
Oh yes. Wait, now I have to go back because I got bang.
I just want you to hit it a bunch of times.
Welcome to a meat forest.
That sounds like a fairy tale of a meat forest.
Well, actually, I should have said Andrew Shambrek.
Just hit the button while you're talking at
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
Other way.
Andrew
Welcome to
Shambrek.
a meat forest.
That We are sounds so like sorry. a fairy tale of a meat forest.
So you can also become a patron. I don't know if I said this is episode 175, but it is
You did.
episode 170.
You did.
Okay, just making sure. But you can also become a patron if you donate $1 or more. $1 gets you into the Discord, allows you to get into just chatting with us and all the other Discord members. You also can play some games on Cockatrice or Spell Table. And when League starts up again sometime in the distant future, you'll be able to be in that. And then if you're $5 or more, you get the proxy each month. You can get a proxy of the week, and you get to choose from that. If you're $100 or more lifetime, you can pick from any of the proxies each month there. The free way to support the show is to jump on YouTube. Check us out there. Subscribe to the channel. Check the videos out. You can also see videos like Curated MTG, which was finally... What's going to be your one coming up? Because that's pretty much what we're plugging here. Because you got to see into the future. Because you already did your...
About?
Well, because you did your...
We're going to talk about Ugin's Nexus, or do we talk about that
No,
last
because
week?
we talked about that last week because I made fun of you for
we?
it. Yeah, because you called me a fucker for bringing it up.
Yeah, so I did release an Ugin cut.
Is that like the Snyder
And so
cut?
you're putting pressure. What's that? Yeah,
Is like the
but
Snyder cut?
better, like short, because it's a short, not
Shorter
4 hours
version.
long. It's
So it's like a snide
minute.
cut?
yeah. So you're asking me what I have planned.
You
For
don't have anything planned right now, do you?
Sweet.
Check out Curated MTG. Go to the best way to do that. If you want to see what video that Larry will eventually put up here, go to YouTube and subscribe, and you'll see the notification when he puts. He's looking back to figure out what card he's gonna pick. But you will see what
choose
he
from
actually-
my foil sheet there.
Or you can
I-
check out the Ugin's Nexus
I don't know.
and see how you can get
don't
infinite
know.
turns and all that fun stuff. You can also check out Proxy Time. I typically have been doing that live lately. Actually, since I started doing it live, I've continued to do it live. Last week was Black Lotus, and the first time I've actually done a black and white. Thanks to Gwen's suggestion, actually. She's like, I saw when you messed with the what, or I think she saw somebody do black and white, or saw me mess with it, or I don't know. Whatever. Change it to black and white, and it looks pretty damn fantastic. The only reason that one was made is because of the new Commander Garth, and allows you to make the token whatever proxy of it. So
And Garth goes infinite fairly easy.
yeah,
So everybody's going to play it.
That was last week, and that we have other videos, box openings. I think by the time I get back from the cabin later this week, after you hear this or watch this podcast, I will be doing a box opening of Modern Horizons 2 Collector Booster. And then also, this is how you can see our pretty faces. If you want to watch the podcast on YouTube, that is the way to do it. And then you guys can check out Twitter. That is where we do the voting for the Salty 64. You can also see Not Sharing with Adam, Proxy of the Week, Curated MTG, all that other fun stuff on there. Yeah, and you can direct message us there or shoot us an email at commandersmiths@gmail.com. All right.
Can I do Soltari Visionary
What does that one do again?
for curated? I might do this one.
What does it do again? What is that one?
It's a 2/2 shadow, and then when it deals damage, you get to destroy an enchantment of that. That might be curated. That's
all right.
I'm just
Foreshadowing.
Well, it'd be out
Actually,
this day.
backshadowing,
It'd be,
wouldn't
yeah,
it?
it'd be backshadowing
'Cause you
because
have
it'd
it.
be already probably out on Monday. This is
Yeah.
releasing on Tuesday or Wednesday. Time, man, is messed up.
Time is on my side. All right.
But
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
We bring you the saltiest cards in Commander with the Salty 64.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Salty. 64.
I feel like with that
Salty.
voice, you just turned like a bunch of teenagers into Satanists.
Salty.
I don't know. Just
64. I can't even hear it. Salty.
it's a loud
You
button.
know, when you're talking over that, I can't hear a damn thing because it's so loud on my end. When I play buttons,
Good.
I can't hear anything. You could be calling me a
Good.
dick or something right there, and I wouldn't even know.
I would never.
Although I do catch it when I'm editing because you send me your track by itself, so I guess I can hear it. All right, so if this is the first week that you're hearing the Salty 64, we started off with 64 of the saltiest cards in Commander, chosen by our Discord and ourselves. We kind of whittled the list down to 64. We are now down to the Hateful Eight. Fucking some good ass matchups. So
There were.
we have been doing voting on Twitter. So the best way to, I didn't even write all my stuff down for that. Okay. So to vote, you need to go on Twitter. We'll put up all these polls, and with the hashtag. Okay, so here's a couple things. Hashtag MTG Salty 64 is how you find the whole thing. There will be a tweet out there that has MTG Salty 64. You need to retweet that with your pick, and if your pick ends up winning, you get. Every time you pick that each week, you get your name entered in for the drawing at the end.
Yeah.
This week for the easy voting, it will be hashtag vote. Should we do Hateful Eight or should we just keep the salt?
Yeah, keep it Salty 64.
Well, no, we've been doing each to narrow it down.
Did we change it? Okay.
So it's vote Salty 8 is what this one will
Okay.
be. The number 8, not spelling it out. And that'll be the best way to find it, or you can just go to our Twitter page and you can just scroll down and see all that. But we had a lot of stuff pop up right after the voting this week, but we got a lot of votes in. So why don't we start
Thank
off
you.
going through the matchups here? So Larry, why don't you start with your top part of your bracket
part?
there? Yeah.
All right, so my number one seed, Static Orb, was going against Derevi Imperial Tactician, and it had the biggest win of the bracket at 76%, just beaten down Derevi. And
Yeah, I'm not surprised with that one at all.
me neither. And the next set was Send Triplets versus Tigrid, God that we still didn't look up. And
Got a fright.
I don't
got a
re-
fright.
got it right. Oh, you did
Got a
look
fright.
it up. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, yeah, because I was typing it in.
And this was
This one was close.
Send Triplets pulls out the win.
I don't. Yeah.
56%.
Didn't we predict that this one was Send Triplets was gonna just kill? But yeah, this one was really close. This was within a few votes.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
pretty
know.
crazy.
So the Hateful Eight top bracket on my side is going to be Static Orb versus Send Triplets.
Static Orb's gonna kill it.
I don't know
you
if they're going to
think?
kill it, but
Don't you
I
think?
mean, I see a pattern, and it might be like a 68% win. I would say that.
So it's kind of funny. Remember how I said that back? Static Orb going against Tigrid. I was like, this matchup is going to be a lot closer than the next week's matchup. Whatever wins between Oloro and Derevi. Sure enough, it was like 8% more. That's quite a bit. That was the biggest win out of all of these this week out of both sides. So.
Yep.
All right, so the bottom part of your bracket, you have Jockle Hops going against Mindslaver, and another close one, just like Centriplets and Tigrid. Mindslaver ends up pulling out the win with 56% of the votes, so that was a really close one. We kind of thought Jockle Hops was going to come away with that one.
Yeah,
though,
I think Jockle Hops is worse, but I don't think it's played as much.
Yeah.
And so I think people are more familiar with Mindslaver locks, and it sucks.
Speaking of,
don't get me wrong.
There's one of the saltiest cards in here, and the Hateful Eight is in Lowry's deck coming up here in a little bit.
What? It is
Isn't
in there.
this in there? Yeah, I was like, isn't this? I just remember seeing this, and I was like, that fucker, the little fucker, put it in there.
We did this list, and I was like, that's a good card for Oscar.
Wow, the Salty 64 helped my deck out. I'm going to start putting all these in there. All right, the bottom part of the bracket, we had Grand Arbiter going against Winter Orb. Both of those cards had an 85% win on the previous week.
Yeah.
This week, Winter Orb, the orbs continue with 68%. So that was a pretty good. That was a handy win there. A handy win.
Yep, handy. Beep, 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 pew.
Lucky. So we have Mindslaver going against Winter Orb.
I think Winter Orb wins this.
2
right?
weeks ago. Orbs are going to get to the finals.
Yeah, so it's going to be Static Orb versus Winter Orb.
Winter
That's
Orb.
our prediction on my side, right?
Yeah, that's totally what's going to happen.
I don't know who. Yeah, all right.
I mean, Mindslaver, I just think it's going to be I think which one do you think is going to be a bigger blowout? Winter Orb or Static Orb on their matchups this week?
I think Static Orb is going to blow out Centriplets more.
More? Okay.
Yeah,
I can see that. I think your next week's matchup with the Orbs is going to be amazing. All right, so the top part of my bracket, I'll start with the top because this is where my number one pick goes away. Expropriate, win against Opposition Agent. And Opposition Agent pulled out the win with 67% of the votes.
Yeah.
Not really surprised there. I mean, I kind of am. Opposition Agent's pretty new, but I didn't think Expropriate was going to make it, especially what it's going to be. Would have been going against here, but the bottom part of that top bracket, we had Cyclonic Rift going against Hull Breacher. Now remember, Hull Breacher, first week, 100% of the votes. Second week, 100% of the votes. Third week, 68% of the votes. So it still
much
beat it pretty
closer.
good. Yeah, and I think it's because of the Rift. Rift is used so much in so many decks that I think that's...
Yep.
But again, Hull Breacher and Opposition Agent came out on the same freaking set.
Yeah,
And
that's
they're
a
in
really good point.
They're in the semifinals against each other there, so it's kind of
Hull
crazy.
Breacher wins this, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is a bigger blowout than what it did against Rift. Like, I think it's going to
Rift,
get over
yeah.
70, I think, in this one.
Yep,
So,
I agree.
all right, the bottom part of my bracket, Larry. How did that one turn out?
So it wasn't as big of a blowout as I anticipated. So it's Stasis versus Smothering Tithe.
Yeah.
And Stasis won, but only by 68%. I was
crazy.
expecting like 80, 90 percentile.
For sure, because, I mean, Smothering Tithe, don't get me wrong, like, it's a pain, but it's not, it doesn't feel as salty, but it got a lot of votes.
Yeah.
For Stasis being such a douche card.
And there's like when you know we're looking at who's being voted for or what card is being voted for to win it all. Stasis is a top 3 request that it's salty, and so being at 68 percentile against something that I just didn't expect to even make it into this round
Right.
against Craterhoof Behemoth, like I'm impressed. Colored me impressed. I'm surprised.
So that was also newer card, Smothering Tithe, in the last couple of years. So, and then the bottom part. Now, this one I wasn't surprised with.
I was a little bit surprised by this too, but Vorinclex Voice of Hunger versus Armageddon, which are two heavy hitters, and Vorinclex won by 68%. We had a lot of 68% wins.
Shit, this is the best matchup of the week.
Oh,
this
for
is,
sure.
This is the one I don't know where to go.
Stasis versus Vorinclex to finish out the Hateful Eight, and yeah, I agree. I don't know. I think Vorinclex wins this because it's newer, probably played more.
Yeah.
Stasis is already kind of like rule zeroed out, where people are like, "Oh, this is too mean." Like,
yeah, you shouldn't be playing with this card. I don't see anybody ever playing with it, but Vorinclex, I play with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could agree. I could see it going either way. I don't know which one.
I think Vorinclex takes this.
Yeah, I probably agree there. So
But
then
close, like 55-45.
Yeah. So yeah, I think how the final four will be, or whatever we call it, the fucking four or whatever they are.
Oh wow, that sounds like an awful porno.
Yeah.
The fucking four.
I think we're gonna have Orb and Orb against each other on your side, and I think
Yeah.
it'll be Hull Breacher and what has the best chance to go against Hull Breacher though?
Hull Breacher is winning on your side
Yeah.
at this point.
Vorinclex could put up a fight. Yeah. I don't know which one's to pick. I don't know which one I'd pick. I guess Vorinclex.
And that's why we're running the bracket, because we don't have to make that decision. It is just is what it is.
I want to. I don't remember what I put for my. I know I had your Static Orb make it to the finals that first week when I made my bracket, and I think I had Stasis going against Hull Breacher on my side. I think. Oh, now I really want to see it.
That'd be impressive.
Let me. I'm pulling it up while we're talking. What? So, what do you think your final? What? This is me stalling. What do you? What do you think the final four are going to be for yours? Or for the final four?
We already did that.
I totally did. I had on your side, I had Static Orb going against Oko. So Oko got knocked out week one.
First round.
Yeah. And then on my side, I had Hull Breacher going against Stasis.
Ooh, you might be there.
And actually, I had Stasis going against Armageddon in this round instead of Vorinclex. Vorinclex lost to Armageddon in this round.
You're relatively close, but you're gonna have probably three of the fucking four. Fuck these four, and we're workshopping the name right now. Obviously, it's not working.
It doesn't flow very well. Fuck. 4.
That's
No, that doesn't work either.
way too sensual. You got like that low growl going.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. This is gonna be a good week of voting, and then then next week will be brutal. But honestly, the Stasis Vorinclex one is the one that I think is gonna be the fight of the week this week. So
Yep. I agree.
All right, that should do it for Salty 64. Remember, you can win the Expropriate and the Static Orb if you retweet the initial tweet that says you can win those. So it shows both those in the picture with the hashtag Salty64, and then with your pick. So you got to do that before the next cast starts, because you can't do it. You can cheat a little bit. You can maybe wait until the voting. You see the oh no, you can't see the results until after you vote. So there's that. So you want to put that out before the next cast comes out, because we're gonna, once the winners proclaimed, the douchiest card in Commander, we'll go back and kind of timestamp and be like, okay, everybody that voted this during whatever. But each time you picked it, you get one vote in, and then you can win those at the end when we do a drawing. I think that's it. So yeah, like I said, the easy way to do it is going to be hashtag vote salty8, and that's how you can find it, or just check out our Twitter. All right, let's move on to
a spotlight deck.
All right, Larry, what do we got here? We got your Oscar the Grouch. I mean, Oscar. Oh, you did do it. The Trash Man.
The Trash Man. He's not Oscar the Grouch. It's.
I know, but it's pretty similar in a way.
Maybe.
You know, actually, side note really quick. What are you drinking? Because we are how far into this are you drinking?
Far enough in. Okay, so I've drank this on the cast before. It's called FAD, freaking awesome, delicious. It's a New England double IPA from Omni, and it is an absolutely delicious beer. It's out of Minnesota, and I highly suggest it to anybody with good taste.
We should almost have a side thing of rating. Like Lowry rates this beer a blah 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 each week, and kind of have what your of each one of it is out of a 1 to 10 scale or something like that.
Well, I mean, like if I'm bringing it back, I think that's a pretty high rating. You know,
I'm drinking.
You want it 1, 2, 3? This is a 3, or number 1. What is if I'm ranking it out of 1, 2, and 3?
No, a 1 to 10 scale.
I don't want to do 1 to 10. I want it 1 to 3. It's either good, okay, or bad.
Okay. Well, then you don't need a number. Why don't you just say
good, okay, or bad? Yeah, this one's good.
Makes me want to drink it. It's
the rating
good.
system we have to work with, all right? I'm sorry.
The worst rating system ever.
This is why we don't get sponsors.
I'm drinking a Captain Coke, but it's the Captain coconut rum. So it's almost kind of similar to a Malibu, but it has the
okay.
Does
it say like gout free on the side?
No, it doesn't. I'm on vacation, so I'm drinking. I'm drinking pop, which I don't normally drink.
Oh well. I wish you the best, my friend.
I'm having wine after the cast, but Cindy didn't want to crack it open yet because we got to pack and stuff still tonight. So fun stuff. All right, so Spotlight deck. Oscar, what
the Reconstructor.
does Oscar do?
2 colorless red, white, 4/4, giant artificer. He has vigilance. You can pay 1, sacrifice an artifact. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. And then you can pay X, tap it, exile an artifact card in with mana value X from your graveyard, and then create 2 tokens that are copies of the exiled card. Activate it only as a sorcery.
So, first looking at this, is there 2 ways to build this? Are you trying to make
I don't know,
like a Voltron-y type deck and a bunch of like tokens, like treasure tokens, sacrificing all that? Or do you take advantage of cool cards going to the graveyard and getting 2 tokens?
So I tried to go more towards like cool stuff going, like just drawing cards and trying to draw more cards.
Yeah.
And try and draw into cards that can win me the game. Kind of like I was talking about with Soltari Visionary. Like if I can get through and I can sacrifice like 4 artifacts and it's unblockable, I'm dealing like 10 damage. That's solid to me.
Yeah, and are you thinking commander damage, or I noticed there were some creatures in here that you're just going to be doing a lot of, not a lot of, but there's what was the one, I wrote them down, the Mirian Crusader.
Yeah.
So is that one of your guys that you're trying to maybe pump up?
Yes.
And because he has the double strike and the pro green and black.
And so that's kind of like a type of evasion, right? Like makes it harder to block. The double strike means that it's getting, like instead of 2/0, it's getting 4/0, right? And you can really go with the beating. I also have the prophetic flame speaker in here. I considered there is a 1/1 flyer double strike from Mirrodin that could have fit in here too. I just ended up kind of cutting it.
That flame speaker is really sweet because the card advantage that you can get from it.
Yeah, well, you only get the 2 cards. It's not like per damage; it's per time.
Yeah, but it's still going through. You're taking from the top of their library, right? Damage to a player, exile a top card of. No, it's your library. You may play it this turn. Oh, so you have to cast it. I was thinking for free. Okay, so but still, it has the double strike on it. I thought the more impressive game winner. It's funny we're doing Dave Dragons at the beginning, but whatever. That's how it was working. The best, and it fits really well with this, is the Hellkite Igniter. I think that's a really sweet one because what Hellkite Igniter does, it's a lot to come out. It's 7, but it's a flying 5/5 haste. You can tap 2. It gets X plus O until on a turn where X is the number of artifacts you control. This is a fucking heavy artifact deck, especially when you're making.
And you can do that
tokens.
as many times as you have mana
Right.
available for it.
So you're late in the game. Somebody doesn't have a flyer or whatever. That's the nice thing is it has the haste. So it's like,
Yeah.
all right, I can kill that person off by play it, attack, boom, that person's dead. You know, maybe there's already somebody
Tyson
dead.
did that to me years ago when the Sahili precon came out.
You're not bitter.
We were
at
playing
all.
like a 6-person. What's that? I remember these
that's
things.
the Healy one. Yeah,
And-
that's the Healy one was a really good.
And he
deck
was
with
just
that.
like, well, it was like he just blazed it out. It was like turn 4 or 5. He's like, everybody have flyers? Larry, do you have one? No. What are you at? And I was getting picked on. I was at like 20. He's like, well, you're gonna die. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So I remember it, and I know that it can kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah. So that was
if you're
I thought
working
one of
at
my
it.
favorites. Dave Dragon's in this part in your deck, but the cool thing is with this deck is you had a lot of like your artifacts are like low costing, drawing you cards like Alchemist Vial. I mean that's one of the top things on the list. Or
Yeah.
it's a 2-drop artifact. Whenever it's the battlefield, you draw a card. You can tap 1, sacrifice it. Target creature can't attack or block this turn. That's meh. But when
It's
you're
l-
using
yeah.
Oscar's ability by tapping it and making 2 more and drawing 2 more cards off of it, that's where it gets really interesting. The benefit of making it so they can't block will help you with your attacks as well.
Yeah,
But I think it's
there's,
more for
like,
the draw.
a slight benefit to that part, but really it's like 50-50. If I'm just gonna sacrifice them for the +2/+0. So they're like kind of can be used, but I can also end people with them. Like if I'm able
sure.
to get through with something, and so it's
And that's the nice thing too with the sacrifice part of his ability is not a tap ability, so you can
Yeah.
keep sacrificing other things, and that one is you can use at instant speed. It's the making the tokens that you can't use at instant speed. One question I had: would you consider? I know it's a 2-drop Arcane Signet's really good to be in here. What about like having like Commander's Sphere, because then you get that draw in that, you know?
I was kind of having problems with like the 3-drop spot. And it's something that could be reconsidered. I haven't felt like I need more draw, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
not like I feel like I'm missing Commander Sphere. And I have a lot of 2-drops. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of like I want to go
you
like
have a lot of nice stuff with that. Yeah.
yeah, and so I want to go like 2-drop, which is drawing me a card or setting me up for a good like turn 4 or 5, and then turn 3 I get a 3-drop, which happens, and then turn 4 I either want to be playing Oscar or 2-drops, and so having that 2-drop spot like where I can ramp into 4 on turn 3 with Oscar feels good and right with the Arcane Signet.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Mindslaver, and how much of a salty douchebag you are.
It's a win card, right? I mean, it's not that bad because in this deck,
It's not that
It's
bad.
not
You're
that
gonna make
bad.
two. You're gonna make 2 token copies of it.
no, it's legendary.
Oh, that's a good point.
So one does
Okay.
go away. So again,
Yeah,
and
that's a
it's
good
not a lock because
It's not that bad.
Oscar exiles
It
it.
exiles it. Yes.
So you're playing. So this one you want to like play, pay the 4, take somebody else's turn. Then the next turn you want to use Oscar, bring it back. And then you have the potential to bring it back with other cards in the deck like Goblin Welder and maybe one other. But
you have Goblin Engineer as well that could kind of do similar thing. Well, that one won't work
that's
'cause it's
3
5.
or less. Yeah.
Yeah, or 6. That's actually 6.
Yeah. So I
go
didn't
ahead.
think that it'll make somebody salty, but it's not a lock, and it's not really abusable. But it's going to make somebody very salty. I agree. I understand.
Okay, kill him.
Why don't we also jump on your curated card, Ugin's Nexus, and how this card works? So that was, if you guys, I This all be linked on there as well. If you're watching YouTube, we'll have that video so you can see the breakdown. But why don't you give us the breakdown right here? How does Ugin's Nexus work with this?
So Ugin's Nexus makes it so that nobody can take an extra turn, but if it goes into the graveyard from play, you get to take an extra turn. But you have to exile it from your graveyard. So you can't like sacrifice it and then bring 2 back. What you want to do is make sure you get it into the graveyard and then use Oscar's ability to bring back 2 copies. And the thing is you got to make sure that one of them, it's a legendary artifact, so one's going to automatically sacrifice. But if the other one's in play, it states that you can't take an extra turn. So it will stop you unless you sacrifice that as well and have 2 of those triggers on the stack. And so just
2 extra turns.
2 extra turns is pretty sweet. Very fair. In the video, I kind of show you how you can go infinite turns, and so but I did not
But
do
you
that
do
in
not
this
have
deck.
that combo in
No,
this. Yes.
no. Because the other reason, it has Isochron Scepter, and I have 7 instances in this deck. It'd be 8 if I added in the combo piece, but only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cards would work with Isochron Scepter, and that's just not enough for me.
Yeah, for sure. Because that means you're not going to necessarily hit that every single game. So
Yeah.
it
It'd just
you
be a
have that
dead
out.
card in
You
your
may.
hand.
Yeah, exactly. That's just pointless. Let's also talk about another curated. We're just going to pump your curated MTGs out
I was
here.
noticing that. I was like, oh, that's a good card. Oh, no, I've already done a curated for that.
So let's do another curated with Pia's Revolution. So this one's interesting. I think you're playing this more to give them an option. Like if you have both of them out and it's like, hey, do you want this to go to the graveyard where I could potentially make 2 of them by casting it again? So it's still the same thing. Or do you want it to go to my hand and deal? Is it 3 damage if it goes to your hand? Target opponent? No, it's 3 damage to let it go to
If
the
it goes
graveyard.
to the graveyard, yeah.
Yeah, 3 damage there, and I can make 2 of them. Or do you want it to go to my hand and I just cast it again and then potentially keep going with it? So it's interesting. I put it on the question of why you had it in there, but it makes sense of why you have it in there too.
And so the thing that I'm thinking that it's going to do is because Oscar has that sacrifice like ability on it. So like I can just be sacrificing draw cards if I'm late game, and I can pick on whoever has the least amount of life, and they're more likely send it back to your hand, and then you can just kind of like cycle through it and go with as much mana as you can. So I'm thinking more of it as like a late game card that allows me to continue to draw and put cards into my hand and try and find those game enders a little bit. But also what it can do is just pump a creature up that I think can get through. So like a flyer, and I can send that through, or the shadow guy or double striker. So that's kind of the hope. And I agree it might have issues in here, but I've also found like I don't have enough times where I can untap and get rid of everything in my graveyard. So like there's always choices in my graveyard for Oscar, and so why not have them like cards come back into my hand as well.
Yeah, and really quickly, just going through, you have like Faithless Looting in here.
Yeah.
What are some other ones that you have to kind of cycle through? Is it Rummage? What is it? No, it's not. What's the term
loot.
for red?
It's looting.
Loot. There we go.
Yeah. So it's Thrill Possibility. There's Faithless Looting, and I have cut a couple of other cards like Cathartic Reunion, and I ended up really trying to focus on the artifacts coming into play.
Yeah,
with
Thrill of Possibility as well.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
Oh, you did. Sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
And so there's not a whole ton of like dumb, like the other thing that I'm looking to discard is with, there's that artifact that is heavily played. It's the, what is it called? It's 4 mana, and then it's
Trading
just
Post?
Trading Post. So you can discard a card. So you can discard
Gain 4 life. Yeah.
and gain 4 life, and you could sacrifice an artifact to draw a card if that's what you're looking for. It just has a ton of utility in here that's kind of nice.
Yeah. Okay, so my favorites, I guess, in here, I really, really like Combustible Gear Hulk in this.
Yeah.
I think that's a sweet card to have in this because you're tapping the 6. You get a 6/6 when it enters. First strike. When it enters, target opponent may have you draw the 3 cards. If they don't, you mill those, which that's fine. You want those. There's another way. There's our other way.
Yep.
Getting 3 cards into your graveyard, but then it can deal a crap ton of damage to that player, or is it to any target? Deals damage to that player equal to the total mana cost. So you're getting a 6/6 first strike right there. You're either getting cards into your graveyard or you're getting them into your hand. You know, that just seems like a huge win-win with that one.
Yeah.
And then imagine if that is in your graveyard and you're making two of those. You're doing that 2 times? Like, that seems pretty silly.
And the first strike makes it so, like, you can attack with it, and if somebody wants to try and, like, kill it, you can have it survive by, like, pumping it if you want. Or more than likely, it's just going to be a really good blocker.
Yeah.
For 6 mana, and you're trying to probably send in flyers or double strikers instead of a huge non-evasive 6/6.
So can I tell you the card that most intrigues me for like my play style is it's a common. It's not a big deal, but this is like the thing that how I would build around it. Reckless Fireweaver. I love that card because you're sacrificing artifacts. You're dealing damage to everybody, and that's what this deck is built on. So I really like this card in there. And it's only doing 1 damage. Your deck isn't built around this card per se.
No.
But I like that this is in there. Just having that.
Yeah, Reckless Fireweaver, whenever you have an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. And so, like, I can be like, pay 2, artifact into play, draw a card, everybody takes a damage, sacrifice it, bring it back, have 2 come into play, draw 2 cards, everybody takes 2 damage. And so that's
just continuous.
I mean, it's a nice little value engine, and it's a 1/3 for 2, so it is early game blocking, which is nice for me because y'all throw shade my way. I need something to stop your 1/1s and 2/2s. I don't want you to feel bad for me. I just need to. I don't want to play walls like Jeremy. You know what I mean?
He doesn't even listen anymore. So it doesn't
I
matter.
know. It's a dig for no reason.
Yeah. They just play Magic with us. They don't listen to us anymore. They listen to us enough when they play Magic with us.
They're sick of us.
And then I wanted you to kind of explain a little bit because you had mentioned this on Twitter, and I just wanted a little more in depth of why you think this card is good. But Bergie, I know it's good, but I want you to explain why you posted that. You're like, this is a good card. It might be late to the party and all that fun stuff.
Bergie, God of Storytelling. It is from Kaldheim, 2 colorless red. Whenever you cast a creature, add a red. It doesn't go away at the end of phases, and then the other part doesn't matter. So it's a 3/3 for 3, but just being able to, like, it feels really good. Like I said, I was really high in those 2 CMC spot, and this makes it be 1. And then at the end of it all, I'll just generally have 1 left over, and then I can sacrifice an artifact for like +2/+0. And so I'm really it's
until this point, I didn't realize that it was just when you cast a spell. I was thinking it was a red spell. So your artifacts, you're right. Yeah. That's sweet.
And so you just, like, in this deck with a lot of cantripping, like, even like what you can do is just like I draw, you gain up X amount of red mana, and then you're like, okay, I'm dumping that into the X ability to bring this back, and that's not casting, so it's not going to add anything, but it kind of just gives you some really good juice that I wasn't expecting. But I like it because it's very different from there are those cards that reduce spells by 1. So it's kind of similar to that idea, but just adding that mana allows you to use it for his abilities that are heavily used in this deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's able to, like,
would you ever do the
mana.
flip side of it?
Yeah. There are times I've goldfished the deck quite a bit, and so the flip side, I've wanted to draw into it because there are times where I just get like 3-4 extra lands in my hand and they're never going to get fully played. So it'd be nice to just be like, okay, I discard, I Is it discard or
Why
exile?
is that? Because you
this
always
land?
have so much land.
Yeah, yeah. I don't need all of that land. I just need most of that
back.
land.
Go back to our discussion about Urza's Saga last week.
It's good to have land, from what I've heard. It's proper deck building, but like, and so I think I have liked it because it's a cheaper ramp spell than I anticipated.
Okay, so a couple things I have suggestions for potentially. Esper Sentinel. It just came out, so obviously that's not in here yet.
For sure.
But would you?
Yeah.
Think of making 2 copies of that? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what is the wording on that?
Esper Sentinel. Let's pull it up.
Because I wonder
Esper-
if somebody's casting a non-creature spell and they're like,
whenever
I
an
gotta pay
opponent
1.
casts their first non-creature spell, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. So you'll get to draw two if they don't.
If
pay
they're
it.
both out. But the thing would be is if somebody's willing to pay for it, I wonder if you'd be able to pump one of the Esper Sentinels to make them pay 3, or you draw the card. Because it's for its power, right? I don't
Yep.
know if you'd be able to respond in that way.
Whenever an opponent casts, no, because they would already have cast.
So they're
You would be able to
casting it,
respond.
and then they have...
Yeah. You'd have
priority
the
to
cast
do
trigger,
that.
so they don't. Yeah, so you'd have to
Okay.
do it like their turn starting. All right, I'm pumping them up, and then we'll see what you do here. Kind of type thing, kind of predict a little bit.
It still seems way awesome, though.
Yeah, it seems pretty sweet. A lot of these suggestions are going to be new cards, just because I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about like doing the hindering effects like Wandering Archaic, Mangara the Diplomat, and Monologue tax in here? So I'm very curious about it because they don't fit with the theme, but those
Yeah.
cards we keep saying that they made it in our top 10, if not the number 1 spot in a lot of these. Does
So-
it make it into a white deck to hinder people enough?
Monologue Tax was in the list, and I eventually cut it, thinking that I had an efficient enough list that I didn't need it. Along with, in this list, I like Archaeomancer's Map better, especially since it's an
I do
artifact.
like that card a lot.
Yeah, and that's one of those cards where I can just be like, I'm getting a fist ton of land into my hand, and so doing the flip side of Burgi is awesome when Map is going.
Wandering might be an interesting add in this.
It-
I feel like Wandering goes in so like
It
every
goes in
deck.
so many decks, and
'Cause
with
it
it
hinders
not being
so many
artifacts, I don't know. Not saying it's. I can see myself putting it in here, but I don't want to. There are other decks where I want Wandering Archaic into, and this isn't one of them.
Okay, and then my last ad, speaking of lands, Urza Saga. So that gets you an artifact. You get to go search for one of your artifacts in here. I'm going through. You have 1, 2,
I don't know how many ones
3.
I have. I have a Lotus.
That's I'm going
Petal.
4, 5. You have 5 1-drop artifacts. I don't think you have any creatures that are 1-drop
I don't think
artifact
so either.
creatures. Yeah. So you have 5 of them in there, or lands. So Urza Saga. Just saying.
It
or
could
making
definitely. It
artifacts.
could work in here for sure.
Well, think of that. You make that token for 2 turns, and you're playing all these artifacts. That token's gonna be huge, dude.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
saying.
Dig Site Engineer is just better in this deck. And that was
just
I
saying.
like this card. Dig Site Engineer is fantastic in this deck, and that's whenever you cast an artifact, you can pay 2 to make a construct token that's +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So definitely agree with you on Urza Saga on here. I think it works in this deck. I think you have enough artifacts to make it viable and reasonable, and you got a lot of targets for the searching part. I think
But-
I agree
well,
with
let's
you.
be clear,
With
You wouldn't use Yavimaya here, right?
No, I mean there isn't any reason to. It's a red white deck. I understand where you're going with. Are you? So after okay, so we're gonna talk about this now.
Yeah.
You
can still vote, I think, actually, on this.
I still hold to the bet. I've definitely heard some different angles that make me like Urza's Saga more. And I don't.
And I actually think it's going to get banned, so I feel like you're in the better seat. Actually,
I don't. I'd like to see a deck and see how it runs before I start saying it's going to get banned or something. But I don't think my range was accurate. I think it's going to be much closer to Yavimaya Cradle of Growth in price. So I think it's going to be a lot closer bet within the next year. Unless for some reason it's banned, but I want to see some deck lists and see how it runs before I start.
Thinking
that.
And I said it last week. I'll be playing it in a lot of like decks going forward. If I have senseis in a deck, it's probably going to be in there to help go get that. At the very least, I'm making constructs. So that's okay. So last thing with this, do you have any other cards that you want to talk about? Some pet cards, anything like that? Because that was kind of all my notes for. This seems really fun because I like making the 2 token stuff. I kind of wish it was like green and like fitting Chatterfang in there.
I wish green could go. Yeah, it'd have to be green, black, red, white.
Green and black, yeah. 4-color. Or I wish that that new artifact that we liked on the top 10, I think it was our number 9 pick, where it makes all of them clue, treasure, food token.
Yeah.
I wish that this fit with that because I'm like, that'd have been sweet in here. But
I'm going to fit that in here. I just picked it up today, so I might try.
But you aren't making enough treasure token stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I mean, I can adjust the deck. I change stuff. Okay, so one card that I want to point out that when War of the Spark came out, we were talking about like how it's good with Karn the Creator. It's good because of the static ability where it just shuts off everybody else's artifacts. And here it's actually fully relevant because what it can do
is
use
the exile stuff.
You're pulling cards from exile and putting it back into your hand.
Good point.
And Oscar is putting those cards into exile. And so Ted was talking about this when we were like talking about on the Discord, because we had like 3-4 people that wanted to build this as well. I think we all kind of went different routes.
Too bad fuckers already made it.
No.
You can't make it now.
Because Zero went with like equipment. It seemed like Jacuzzi went more like big mana, and because like there's a lot of really cool like Jeweled Lotus in here, like goes nuts, right? You pay 0, create 2 Jeweled Lotus, and then you get to cast Oscar whenever you want. Or there's the Suspend Lotus, Lotus Petal, which I have in here, is really good. And so the deck can go really like high ramp, or just think of like Manavolt and Grim Monolith being able to like pay for like tap 3, sacrifice it, bring it back 2 of them, sacrifice more. You can get mana really quick and play some really large artifacts as well. So you could go big with this deck. I went more like Dink and Dunk.
I could see it going Voltron-y in this one as well. Yeah.
So there's
0 drops.
There's definitely a lot of cool ways that you can build this, and there isn't just like one way you have to build it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I like this build because I think I don't know. I like how you did it. Like you have a lot of draw stuff that is really cheap, 2 or less, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I might have gone Voltron, but I liked the angle that you went. I think I like that almost better than what I would have done.
There is an interesting like little bit of like a burn package in here. I don't know if you've noticed that. So there's Pyrite Spellbomb, which can like you pay a red, deal 2 damage to any target, and when you start rolling with like doubling the activation to create like 4 of them, that's dealing. There's also the Sculling Doom engine. When that dies, you deal 6 damage to a player.
deals.
And then you can make 2 of those, sacrifice those. So that right there is 18 damage if you want. You do have the Reckless Fireweaver that you were talking about. Is that all of them? So there's only 3 cards, but like it feels like it gives the deck a bit of reach as well. Going like, okay, I can deal 6 damage pretty easy if I wanted from here. And there's other cards that could go in here to do more of that. But I avoided it. So some problems that I had with building this deck is I didn't want it to be so close to like my Gadrak deck, which is mono red, reanimate artifacts, sacrifice them. So I wanted to make sure that it was different enough and felt different enough to make sure that it was just like, okay, maybe I just devour Gadrak and add these ideas in here. Because I can easily add in Mycosynth Lattice and that whole package of like Hellkite Tyrant. Because Vandablast
you just lock
is in
people
here.
out then with Mycosynth.
Yeah, and Karn.
If you
like
did Mycosynth, then you just with Karn. Yeah.
yeah, so that's what Gadrak does. Like, there's a lot of dirty things that it does with Mycosynth Lattice. And if I put that in here, it would make the deck probably more competitive, a lot meaner. But I want to, like I'm saying, I wanted them to be different decks, right? Mm-hmm. So there were some conscious decisions not to add these cards in to make sure that they're playing. And honestly, this is just kind of like a little bit of just like player cards that draw you stuff, and those little artifacts that come into play that cantrip. It feels like an expensive ponder. Like it's just like draw a card, and then you get to draw 2 cards later on, and it just gives you some late game. Like I can run out and then I just start drawing cards, and it's kind of fun that way.
Would you ever think of throwing Hellkite Tyrant in here because of the 20
Well,
artifacts
that's what I was saying.
stuff
Like if
that?
I was going to do that, then I'd add in Mycosynth Lattice,
Then
and then I'd add in the Goblin that Trinket Nabber, or what I mean, the one that sacks
Trinket.
or steals artifacts that
Treasure Nabber.
Thank you. Yeah, so any artifacts that tap for mana, like you start sealing that stuff, and you start just starting to be mean. And I don't think you.
Lowry's not mean, but for some reason everybody attacks him all the time.
I'm not the bad guy. I just play Mindslaver. Don't worry about it. And that's what kind of makes it a little bit different too. Like if that would probably be the 1-for-1 switch. Lattice would come in, Mindslaver would go out. I'd kill Gadrak as a deck, and just kind of cannibalize it into this one. And I can't remember playing Mindslaver in the last decade. So
I can't wait for you to play this.
See, I'm glad you're on board with what I'm thinking now.
Keep your grubby hands off of my
I'll just look
turn.
over your shoulder and point. Play this. I'll whisper in your ear too.
Oh, all right. Is that it? Is that
I
it
think
for
so. Well,
Spotlight?
Okay, so real quick, there are a lot of cards that can double activated abilities that are in here. So there's Rings of Bright Hearth, Panharmonicon, Anointed Procession, because there's a lot of ETB stuff in here.
Imagine all those token stuff, the Anointeds.
Yeah. I'm trying to find. There's Battle Mage's Bracers, which was in this pre-con deck, and then there's also the Mage Rights Stone, which untaps Oscar along with Thousand Year Elixir, and then one more. There's an equipment that the Bracers, Illusionist Bracers.
Yep.
Whenever an activated ability is activated on the creature, you double it. So even when you're like with this on there, you pay 1 sacrifice, and a creature gets +4/+0. Or if you're like pay 2, bring back that cantrip, it's going to create 4 instead of 2 of that artifact. And so that is a fun little sub package of just like doubling the effects of what Oscar is going to do, because that's what I want to be doing with the deck anyway. So
right.
One more.
Seems fun.
One more. Saheeli's Directive is insane in here, which is
Saheeli's...
it's in sorceries. So it has Improvise X, 3 red, and then X you get to it's a artifact version of Genesis Wave.
So you're looking for you tap X and then hit any artifact that's X or less. You get to put directly into play,
and that's going to be everything that shows up in X, because you're going to have multiple tokens that don't really do anything that you want to just sacrifice anyway. So improvise could be a route that you go in this deck as well, but that's a ton of card advantage in this deck. All right, I'm done.
I really love this deck. No, I think it's gonna be fun. It's very interesting. It's different. Mindslaver sucks, so that's it.
I gotta put in one crappy card.
All right, so now we are gonna move on to the Secret Lair. We just got kind of surprised yesterday with the Secret Lair drop stuff. I don't know. This is maybe the right noise for it. Ka-ching.
Whatever makes you come.
Ka-ching. Okay, so this is a big super drop. So we get a ton of stuff here. And I do have to give a little shout out to Zen Tharzar, who broke down the costs of everything. We're not going to go through necessarily the costs. We're going to kind of give you a quick version of this because we're already over an hour with the cast, so we're just going to give our opinions of this, and that's why this cast is coming out a day early, so it gives you a chance to kind of take our opinions.
We want you to make the decision for yourself, but after hearing our opinions on it.
Our opinions of it. Okay. So why don't we switch off going back and forth with them? I'll start with the first one. So the very first one is Saturday Morning D&D. This one comes with, it's funny, we get another Commander Sphere Secret Lair, because then we just get one with that
with the rocks.
I'm pretty sure we got with the rock stuff. So so it has your Saturday morning cartoon kind of look to this. So these are they're interesting. But you have Commander Sphere, Weir of Invention, which I like that card, but it's not a very expensive card. Hero's Downfall, Impact Tremors, Primal Vigor is the golden goose here. Unbreakable Formation. So you can get the non-foils for 30, the foils for 40. The Primal Vigor is only printed in non-foil. It's only been non-foil. This is the first time it'll be in foil, and the non-foils currently are at $45. This one, and I like the art with this. It's kind of fun. It's cartoony.
I'm fine with the Primal Vigor. I think some of them, I like the Unbreakable Formation art. I dig the Impact Tremors. I'm fine with that. Not sure if I like Hero's Downfall or Weir of Invention. Yeah. But all of these cards are playable in my book. And so it at least makes me go especially with I don't own Primal Vigor. So it's I want this one.
Yeah. I do have it, but that's just, I should have all good for you. I have it because
good.
I had to have a deck that made it work with that. But so I mean, just with Primal makes this one worth it for foils. I don't know what those are going to be at. It's the first foil printing of this. It's really your money maker on this whole thing. But $45, this thing costs $40. Kind of no brainer there a little bit. All right, so why don't you move on to the next one, Larry?
So the next one is an artist series from Mark Poole, who has been around forever. New art for Balance.
Which we can't
Why
use.
do they print cards that's banned in every format other than Vintage? It's restricted in Vintage. All right, whatever. It has Birds of Paradise.
Cool art though.
Yeah, it is cool art for sure. Birds of Paradise, old school art.
The OG BOP.
There is Brainstorm with new art. I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming that it's either new art or MTGO. I'm not 100%.
Maybe.
Yeah, because we've seen all of the other art other than Balance. Okay, so this could be new.
You haven't. No, have you seen? I haven't seen Wastelands before.
Oh, that's true. I haven't either. So it's probably
have you
new.
Seen that with.
You're spoiling it. All right, Counterspell, which is spell impotence, where the spell's coming out of and it's limp spell. He has problems.
Quick note. Brainstorm
is new art.
I did a Scryfall really quick to see if
Okay.
that one hasn't been printed. that
Howling
art before.
Mine, which
Okay,
is
keep going, sorry.
old school art.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's
love that one.
Wasteland.
Which I think Ted brought up. It's the Alexandria, Library of Alexandria.
yeah.
land. Like that's the
Oh,
tower and everything.
That is
that's
fantastic flavor.
Yeah,
So this one's a no-brainer to me. In foil, right? Foil
For
birds,
sure.
foil brainstorm, foil counterspell, foil mine, foil wasteland. All playable cards other than fucking balance. Do you think they put balance in there to make you go like, maybe I don't want it because I can't play 100% of these cards?
At least it wasn't channel again because they keep.
But
doing
it's the
channel for
same
some
like
odd reason.
feel, right?
Idea.
Maybe they're
yeah.
gonna unban balance.
But yeah, I mean, Wasteland alone in foil for the cheapest foil that's
Yeah.
it's an Eternal Masters, $50.
Yeah.
So your Wasteland, and I like this art better than that one. Like it's kind of cool to think, Library of Alexandria. That's the tower that's there, and it's now just a waste, And then the counterspell, that is my favorite
Is
counterspell
it?
art. That's from when we were kids. Like that one
Yeah.
was really cool with the.
No, so
Looking
cool.
like he has
I love
tentacles,
Counterspell.
but it's the spell.
Fucking-
Yeah, and that's also in modern now.
Yeah.
So that could be the one that people go for. So yeah, I definitely this one I think is number 1 or 2. There's one coming up that
It's
I
number
really
2 for
like.
me. Number 2 for me.
Hey, number 2. All right, then the next one is special guest Fiona Staples, and in the I don't either.
But it looks awesome.
In this, you get full arts of these: Dryad of the Elysian Grove, Metallic Mimic, Sakura Tribe Elder, Soulscar Mage, and Spell Queller. Dryad of the Elysian Grove looks fucking fantastic. Like that art
Yeah.
looks.
Yeah.
I like that art better than the
like it
original
a
one.
lot.
Like it looks very
Metallic
sexy. It's
Mimic
like giving
is
us-
fantastic. Sakura Tribe Elder is fantastic.
Spell Queller's one that you picked when we
I
did a pick
love
at some
Spell
point,
Queller
didn't you?
as a
Yeah,
spirit,
Spellqueller's
and the worst card is Soulscar Mage, and very playable in specific decks. And so
for sure. So this one I thought, I had Dryad of the Elysian Grove, which is still a pretty new card, and that's at $30. Like just the normal foils of this, or the normal foils of this are
Okay.
at 30. So it's like you're $10 off. Spell Queller's up there, metallic, like all this stuff is totally usable. So this one is
this is a strong third. Like everyone we've talked about so far, like
Yeah.
the only one like D&D, I'm like, but it has the highest price card I don't own. It's like, I want it. What's next?
Right. And by the way, I'm not gonna keep saying it, but the non-foils of these are 30, and the foils of these all across the board is 40. So 30 and 40, 30 and 40. So we don't have to keep saying it. So the foils, all these have a foil and a non-foil printing. All right, and then Larry, what do you move on
So
to the next
special
one?
guest Jen Bartel. This one's kind of weak. I don't know who that is. So they have Archaeomancer with alt art, and this is when it comes into play, bring an artifact or like an instant of sorcery back into your hand. If you don't know, there's Bloom Tender, which is a fantastic card. Mesa Enchantress, which is it's enchantment decks, and then
It's been printed.
yeah, and
a
then
lot.
Meteor Golem is a very iffy choice. A very iffy choice. It looks cool.
The art's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, the art's pretty cool. But yeah, your chase card here is Bloom Tender. It has really only the one printing right from Shadowmoor, and you're looking at foil printings of $400. Can you expect that here?
No,
the price.
No,
is gonna
it when it
not
just
even
came
be
out,
close
didn't
to
it?
that.
It just got a reprint. Was it in the list? No,
Bloom
no.
Tender?
Yeah, Bloom Tender was in
that
Mystery.
you
I
might
think.
be.
Mystery Boosters.
Yeah, Mystery Booster. But for foil, first besides
Yeah,
Eventide
okay.
is
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Shadowmoor is
That doesn't
Eventide. So that's $425. This is gonna be that price. No, this isn't gonna be that price. So this one I'm not as high on. The only reason I want to get this is kind of what your reason with Primal Vigor is. I don't have a Bloom Tender.
Understandable.
So maybe this is my chance to get that because if I go with the other ones, the cheapest is
Definitely the
$40.
weakest
So even
for
Mystery Booster.
Commander at this point, but still not
Yeah.
bad. Like Meteor Golem,
Yeah.
Mason Chantress, and Archaeomancer. Like those are budget cards, but usable. And Bloom Tender's definitely a solid card, so I don't blame them for that one.
All right, probably my favorite and your favorite, I'm guessing, on
Yes.
the list is the Phyrexian Praetors Complete Edition. So you get Elish Norn, you get
did you
Jin
not practice your
Gitaxias.
Phyrexian? You need to read it because it's all in Phyrexian and it looks fucking incredible.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome. So you got all 5 of them. So you got the red, the green, Vorinclex,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Original art.
Yeah, but then they have the interesting, you see their power and toughness is in that interesting style as well, and the box is all. These look amazing,
look awesome.
And
The,
I think
the
if you're
borders
getting
are
these, you only
sharp.
get foil.
They're like Phyrexian sharp.
this
yeah,
is-
definitely get this in foil. It looks.
Yeah, this is by far if I had to go off of one, this would probably be the one that I just go deep
Yes.
on. This is the one that's going to make a ton of
In
money.
Phyrexian? God.
So, yeah. And to give you an idea, this is the same thing as Bloom Tender before, but you have Elish Norn Judge Promo Phyrexian card already, and that one's $425 for that one. That's not what these are going to be at. Maybe years
Probably still
down the
not.
road, not
I
400.
I think there's a lot of people
but-
on the same set of mind of going this is going to be expensive. So it might have that everybody's buying it thing where it's going to be hard to recover.
Right.
But still it's going to be highly sought after for years to come.
Yeah, I see in the early by a year out each one. I mean, freaking A, these cards by themselves without being having the Phyrexian writing and all that. You just take the Vorinclex. That card itself is freaking more than this whole thing, So it's just easy to get this. So, and then we finish off right. This is the last.
I don't know.
one?
There's
Oh,
there's a
two
lot, so I don't even know until we get to the end. But it's a Mother's Day edition, and it is 4 different arts of Mother of Ruins, which is commonly known as Mom, so totally makes sense. Art differs, different styles, different things. And
This one I'm a little.
I love
I understand
Mother of Ruins, and so I will be more than happy to
it's one of
use
your
this
babies.
and get this, but I wouldn't go out of my way. If I'm going singly, I probably wouldn't buy this, but if I'm getting a bundle, I actually plan on getting on this one, I'm not. Yeah, I know. But I'm not upset getting this. I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Getting it.
Right. Yeah.
One more.
Yeah.
One more.
This one. Well, okay. So then the last one we're just going to combine them because it's
Yeah.
actually two. But it's the Dan Fraser is back, the Allied Signets and
Enemy Signets.
The enemy Signets. Each one is 40 in old school border. They're pretty cool looking. They're the least when you compare them to the foils that are existing, they're the least expensive. But when you have this old school border with foil, these will
New
probably
art.
go up there as well. These,
It
and they're
looks
used a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, they're all
Yeah,
in the
they look
top
really good.
100 EDH cards played on EDH Rec.
I don't play them very often, but I
I don't play the
don't
play
know
the
why I
green
don't
ones
ever
at
play
this
'em.
point in my life, but if I'm two colors, I'm playing it.
So then you break it all down. They have a all for you bundle, which is everything foil and non-foil, everything we just talked about for $444.44. Or you can get the all natural foil bundle, which is basically $270, or you do the non-foil for $200. Where are you on this one, Lau? Where are you sitting with everything? What seems?
What was
This
it
is a
again?
sweet.
all
right off the bat, this-
for you bundle.
270 for the foils, 444
For all of it?
44 for everything foil
Yeah.
and non-foil, and then non-foil for 200.
The the All For You bundle seems to be pretty steep. Like I wouldn't do that. But I think I would want, I don't know. I want to either get, I think I'm fine with a foil or a non-foil bundle, and then going deeper on singletons of like the Phyrexian and the other two that we really liked, and get like those in foil. That might be my route.
But would you go, I mean, think of it this way. You're spending $70 more to get all those in foil instead of non-foil.
Yeah, I know.
Only $70
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
That's the so I think I'm in the same boat where I think I might go the bundle, because there's certain cards like Bloom Tender, that's the only one I don't have. I want to get, but to be honest with you, the smart thing for me, the smart thing to do would be to go deep on Mark Poole foil. I think the Fiona Staples is a pretty good one to go deep on, and I think the Phyrexian is a good one to go deep on. Those three, if you wanted to make the most money, if it's all about making money, those are the ones you go deep on. But if you like having stuff for the collection, that's the part that I'm having trouble with. With these, it just I just want the whole thing. So I might go do the same thing and do 270 and then buy a couple extra of each of those three. That's the smart.
That seems like probably where I'm going to go. And that this it feels weird because I don't normally get a ton of the secret layers, but this just feels like a really good balance. A couple of really high powered expensive cards in here. And
one card you don't even have.
Some really good nostalgia in here with like older cards, older border. I really, really dig this set. And they seem to be doing better, in my opinion, to like stealing my money at least. So
that's why you have to get multiples so you can sell some of them. Although you haven't sold yet, you can trade some of them away.
I need to sell.
Yeah, we're gonna get
eventually.
you there, Lowry. Well, you know that we're gonna get you. I'm gonna see you in person here soon. We're gonna get an in real life game again, and hopefully no one is sick.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, we just went through a batch of cold, snotty crap through our house. I was the only one, knock on wood, that didn't get it. Everybody else got sick, so that was fun stuff. Okay, so really quick, Secret Layers, if you want to get this only goes to the 23rd, 9 a.m., 23rd. So we're releasing this episode a day early just so we can help you out. Maybe if you were on the fence and we helped you figure out which ones to go after, boom, there you go. This is just to help you guys out. We love you guys. I'm two drinks
I'm
in.
too
on my
drinky
vacation,
in.
So.
Well, I hope you have fun. And you're leaving me.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Oh, so here's the best part. We've had 100-degree days, 90-degree day, whatever. You see the bottom drop out of them?
It's going to be like 68 degrees on Monday.
Oh, it's going to be 55
where you're at
up there.
It'll be chilly.
Like
I hope you bring your robe.
Yeah,
Would you like me to Amazon you this?
Yeah. So tomorrow we're trying to get up extra early to get out there because tomorrow's going to be like 75. So we're just going to get the boys swimming. And then the bottom drops out on Sunday. And then crappy. And then Wednesday it warms back up to the 70s. And then we leave on Thursday. So it's whatever. All right.
I hope you have fun.
Well, that should do it for this week. Next week will be the, what are we calling it? The fucking four? The fucking final four? Yeah, the foursome. All right, so next week will be the final four. Make sure you guys get out and vote for the Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
And determine what our last four are going to be. I think we know what three of them are going to be. We got to figure out what the last one's going to be. But you got to still vote. If no one votes on it, then we just leave it up to Discord. So
who wants to do that?
Well, it's only Discord voting anyways. All right. Well, that should do it for this week. We will catch you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.
Sega.
I love boobs. I'm talking tatas. I love boobs. I'm bonkers for honkers. I love boobs. Thanks for the memories. I love boobs.